What exactly was in the email, please?
There would have been, I don't know about contact numbers, but there would have been...
Enough that you could have completed the round?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, it arrives, the month is finished. Again, he has completed his side of the bargain at that stage. No problem. What is preventing you from saying, thank you very much, it was a pleasure to work with you, you are utterly marvellous window cleaner. And by the way, the elegant way that you climb up a ladder, everybody should just see. Right? That sort of thing. End of story. What prevented you from starting work on the list the next day?
As Matthew mentioned, that it is, you're going with the goodwill of the customers, and to help that along, you want an introductory letter of recommendation almost.
You may want that. You may want that. I want everybody to come to my court with paper. Sometimes they don't, no. Alas. I want to be 6 foot, have longer hair and look like Brad Pitt. It's never going to happen. Now, when you sold this business to Julian, did you explain to him that you would write a letter explaining to all the customers that there was going to be a new window cleaner coming?
I did, yeah.
Fine. Yeah. Now, that's thanks to his admission and his honesty there. If he'd said no, your case would be over. Do you understand? Simple as that.
Okay.
Now, did he ever draft that letter and send it to those customers? Were you, as far as you were concerned, and this is an important question, satisfied you could have gone to all of these houses without that letter of introduction?
You talk about the industry standard. The industry standard is to have that introduction from the existing window cleaner.
Could you have gone to those houses without that letter of introduction? It may not have been the best or easiest thing to do, but were you satisfied you could have gone?
I wouldn't have been satisfied to do that because you're increasing the potential for loss of that goodwill.
So long as you don't show up in a slightly dirty suit with yellow fingers and a pair of binoculars, people don't mind who clean their windows. Am I right?
Within reason, I guess.
What do you mean within reason? You mean they don't mind the binoculars?
I guess with our case and Julian hadn't met all the customers, so if you had a lady in her 80s, the last thing she wants is seeing a different man round the back of a house.
Yes, I can imagine that's true. And in fact, you're right, and it's important that you say that. Yeah. The discussion then changes, and this is effectively the subject of the dispute here. You say Matthew changed the agreement. What did Matthew say to you, Julian?
So, at the end of working together, things went a bit quieter. I started to get a bit concerned, and then the text came through saying that he wanted an extra £1,500.
Why do you say you're entitled to ask for £1,500? By the way, this is after you've sent him the black book, as I'm calling it.
I guess it was probably, as you referred to earlier, the blood and sweat that went into it, my kind of analogy of what I'd actually sold for the money. You can easily say an industry standard, but as Julian...
In other words, let me help you.
I thought it was worth more, basically.
What's more, and this is the critical part of your case, you had a number of commercial contracts.
Correct, yeah.
Especially hotels, which take a lot more effort. And you sat down after shaking hands and completing the contract with Julian, and you thought, hang on, I've undervalued here to at least the tune of £1,500. So I'm going to ask for more money, correct? Right?
Correct.
What did you think when you received the request for £1,500, Julian?
I wasn't very pleased, to say the least.
Well, put it exactly how you want to put it. I won't be shocked.
I think I phoned and left a voicemail. I'm not a swearer, so there were no expletives in there, but...
But what was it? Did you raise your voice?
I
presume you didn't sort of get in touch with him and express your anger through the medium of contemporary dance. What did it say?
Certainly not. I can't remember. I expressed my disapproval on that we had this gentleman's agreement. I then said that I would like my money. If he wanted more, I would pull out of the deal. As at that stage, the customers were not aware of it. It was just conversations and agreements between ourselves.
You had a discussion by text with Julian, correct?
Correct.
In the course of that discussion, what, if anything, did you promise about the money?
It would be paid back over time.
Now, the last question I've got is that it seems to me that you've given Matthew considerable time in respect of this second contract, and there are a number of text messages, aren't there, where you're chasing this money.
Yeah.
We've got some of them here. No reply to any of them. And eventually, you sort of lose your patience. In, I have to say, a rather temperate and measured way, Julian. You say, where's my money? No reply. Well, where is it?
Well, I didn't have the full amount of money, so...
Full of it. You didn't have any of it. How much have you paid back to date?
0.
You haven't replied to any of his messages. Why not?
I guess irrelevant of the messages, had it been the other way round, he wasn't very forceful with it. Not that I wanted him to turn...
He was what? Just pause. I need a moment.
I guess there was a lot going on personally, and over the time before that text message, it had been left for a considerable amount of time, being 3 or 4 months. And as Julian wasn't doing the work, it kind of evaporated into nothing until he messaged me again. So it wasn't very... When I mean forceful, I don't mean physically. I mean, he didn't turn up to do the work. So it wasn't...
Well, of course he didn't turn up to do the work. He didn't want the business. And you'd said you'd give him the money back. Why were you expecting him to turn up to work? What was he going to do? You hadn't written the letter, which is industry standard, by your own admission. You enter into this second agreement to pay him back everything he'd paid till then. Why on earth did you expect him to show up for work? Where was he going to go?
I guess he couldn't, could he?
You guess?
Well, he couldn't.
Correct.
Yeah.
Good guess. For more Judge Rinder cases, click here. And if you've got a legal issue yourself, get in touch with us by clicking over here.